The City of Brighton is honored to celebrate the men and women who are serving, who have served, and who lost their lives for our country. Hello, my name is Tim Watts, Marine Corps veteran and Brighton City Council member. I am standing at the corner of 4th and Jessup, where our city's Vietnam Veteran Memorial stands. The memorial features approximately 200 Brighton area veterans who served in the Vietnam War. It took years of planning and was dedicated in 2018, but honoring those who lost their lives during the Vietnam War does not stop. The Wall That Heals rolled into Brighton on a late August afternoon.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
You all are part of something special here today.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund President and Chief Executive Officer, Jim Knotts, says it is a privilege to honor the service and sacrifices of Vietnam veterans.
We consider this an honor to be able to bring the names of those who gave their lives in the Vietnam War back home to the communities around the country.
Veterans from across Colorado helped escort the wall from the Adams County Government Center to Brighton City Hall.
Well, there was times I got choked up just seeing the people take and salute the veterans that were, on our bikes. And then even, they were saluting the truck. I mean, the wall itself, even though it's not exposed, they were still saluting the truck.
Vietnam War veteran Kenneth Cosby has never seen the Vietnam Memorial in person, but he is excited to bring his wife back to visit the wall once it is on display.
The soldiers and those that gave up their lives, some of those I don't know personally, but we did do an honor to protect our country.
Since 1996, the Wall That Heals has spread its healing legacy to nearly 700 communities across this nation.
I think it's about time that we should recognize all our veterans.
As the sun rose on a warm September morning, a group of people started to gather at Carmichael Park. The group of volunteers would spend the next couple of hours putting together the Wall That Heals.
And you guys are just going to hold it there?
I want to support this operation.
George Melvin served in the United States Air Force from 1957 to 1962.
I saw it a few years back at Cripple Creek, but I had no idea how they put it together, but I like being part of this.
He joined other veterans as they helped build the Wall That Heals from the ground up.
We're here to pay our homage to this important event and provide our volunteer labor to be able to help build the wall.
United Airlines Cargo Business Development Manager Sharon Hogue joined the airline's Veterans Employee Group as they help support this very important mission.
The things that honor our veterans we're passionate about, and it doesn't matter where in the country that we work or live. There are folks that are flying in from Houston, from Chicago, just people that this is near and dear to their hearts.
The replica is constructed of avenite and is synthetic granite. The 140 numbered panels that make up the wall are supported by an aluminum frame. When the wall is completed, it will display all 58,281 names of the service members who died during the Vietnam War. Visitors will be able to experience the wall rising above them as they walk towards the apex. This is a key feature of the design on the wall in DC. But for Hogue, helping build the Wall That Heals is very special, as her father, who is a Vietnam War veteran, her mother, and her husband, who served in the United States Army, are here helping build the Wall That Heals.
Dad is here as working side by side with my husband as well, and it's important for my mom because obviously she wasn't familiar with the draft until it happened to her.
This is a special day for Hogue and her family, as she will be able to see the wall for the first time with her father standing by her side.
It's going to be very, very special, very impactful, very emotional. We get weepy just watching the videos. Just from a sense of healing for my family, I think it's going to be really important for all of us.
It took the volunteers 5 hours to set up the education center and build the Wall That Heals behind Brighton City Hall.
Visitors from across Colorado came to Brighton to learn more about the Vietnam War and to pay respect to those who served but eventually paid the ultimate sacrifice.
And he is one of only 2 who received the Medal of Honor.
Fourth grader Will Weidebeck came to Carmichael Park to learn more about the Vietnam War.
It's sad seeing all the names on the wall, but knowing that they served for a good cause, it makes me kind of happy.
Weidebeck and his classmates started their tour at the Mobile Education Center. This 51-foot trailer brings the wall from city to city during each tour season.
We used helicopters to haul people.
I learned what time it was in, and I learned why all the things they left, what they meant to the family and all that.
More Americans died during 1968 than almost the rest of the war in total.
So the Vietnam War was a war that a lot of people ascribe to the domino theory, where we tried to make certain that we didn't want to have other countries fall to communism. We were involved in South America, we were obviously involved in Asia and Korea, and Vietnam became the latest country that kind of fell under the guise of this communist idea.
The Wall That Heals site manager Tim Tate says that for 16 years, the United States tried to help the South Vietnamese government push back on communism.
Unfortunately, not because of the heroism or hard efforts of the military, but because we as a nation and our politicians failed. At the end of the war, after we pulled out, many of those people, and of course all of South Vietnam, was made into one country, into Vietnam, under the communist rule.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund was founded in 1979 to come up with a memorial for the Vietnam War for the National Mall in Washington, D.C. The memorial was then dedicated in 1982.
In 1996, we realized there were other traveling walls, and they weren't replicating the wall experience that you would have in Washington, D.C.
Tate says this is when the organization decided to create a traveling replica of the memorial.
We're able to then bring that full experience that you would have in Washington, D.C. to places like Brighton, so that people who might not ever get a chance to come to Washington, D.C. have a chance to experience it.
The Wall That Heals also gives those who have seen the memorial in Washington, D.C. a chance to learn more about the memorial.
What do you see up there?
Gun oil and a cigarette lighter.
For some visitors, seeing the Wall That Heals in a smaller setting gives those visitors time to heal in a more private setting.
This becomes the place that they can bring their family and share the stories. They might have talked about a story on Memorial Day, or they might have barely even alluded to something that they had, but this wall really brings out the truth and honesty that they have, brings out some of those stories that for years and decades even have never come up.
But for Weidebeck, he was able to learn about what his family members went through over 40 years ago.
So both of my great uncle and both my grandpas, they served. Well, my uncle died in it. He's on the wall too. My two grandpas, one of them died from the Agent Orange, and one didn't want to talk about it, and he died from cancer.
Weidebeck and his grandmother found his great uncle's name, and he even got a rubbing of it to bring home with him. The majority of service members who died during the Vietnam War were from the Army. 8 women and 16 chaplains have their names displayed on the wall as well.
Bringing the Wall That Heals to communities across the United States helped veterans find the strength and courage to visit the wall.
Feel a strong, what's the best word, responsibility to come and serve and honor and help out wherever we can.
For Vietnam veteran Tom Worzen, service is key.
Honor is probably the best word. Respect their memory and keep their memory going, keep it alive.
Worzen, along with over 100 other volunteers, watch over the Wall That Heals for 4 days and 4 nights.
One of the first people on the wall, or casualty of the wall, was Terry C. Cordell. He was a second lieutenant when I met him, and I drove for him a little while in Germany. The next time I saw him again, he was in the papers where he was a casualty of the war at the start of the war in 1962.
For Vietnam veteran Alfredo Garcia and many other veterans, seeing the wall is not only about remembering those who lost their lives, but it is also about sharing their stories.
I went back over there as a squad leader and then my advanced platoon sergeant, and it seemed like they were using me to train second lieutenants because I'd been there a while and knew the ins and outs and villages and stuff in there and what to expect, and it helped quite a bit.
I got to the first cab because of the conflict with an NBA unit in in the Duran Valley. It was Colonel Helmore, and that was the movie. We were soldiers.
Roland Johnson served with the 1st Cavalry Division and was involved in several major events during his time in Vietnam.
I traveled through, the highlands and through the coastal, and it was just, obviously it was a war experience.
Johnson and his wife wanted to help families and friends of those who are on the wall find their loved ones and remember them together.
Several of the people that I've met out here have asked some, they've asked some tough questions. Some of them have been emotional, only because of the effect of the wall. And it was amazing to see them.
And there's about a half a dozen names that are significant to me, so I was laying a rose and a name tag for each of those people.
Ray Thompson not only helped build the wall that heals, but he came back to honor several schoolmates and 2 close friends who lost their lives during the war.
I served right with them over there. One of them is Sergeant Santiago. He was my assistant. And another one is Danny Peterson. He would have been one of the infantrymen that helped secure us as we were sweeping the road of a morning, checking for mines.
Thompson says after the Vietnam War ended, it was better to let go and move forward with your life.
In the last 10 or 15 years, I have been more involved in coming to traveling versions of the wall and getting out and talking with other vets. So yeah, it's something that's there's been a transition there.
For some, seeing the wall that heals has opened some old wounds, but it also helped them say goodbye to those who were lost during the Vietnam War.
We had a young man come in who has had some challenges with PTSD and came. We did a couple of names for him, rubbed a couple of names, and it was cathartic, I think is probably the best word. These were people that died right beside him. 2 people on either side of him. He was suffering with what they would call survivor's guilt, and this was the opportunity to take some of that off of his shoulders and finally touch the name and say goodbye.
The wall that heals is sometimes the first step for friends and families to start the healing process after so many years.
Throughout the time that the Wall That Heals was in Brighton, one man proudly displayed his American flag to honor the heroes of the Vietnam War.
They gave up their lives for us as Americans, and it is very important for us to know that they died in honor.
Joe Duran travels across Colorado displaying his American flag at memorials, police departments, and fire stations.
The flag is to honor the heroes, and it's a privilege to do that for various groups and organizations.
This is how he got his nickname, Flagman. But Duran is also a Vietnam veteran.
When I got here, I was away from the United States for a year, and coming back, everything was moving faster. It was just kind of overwhelming all of a sudden.
Duran said after he came home, he was spat on, slapped, and verbally attacked. He doesn't want any veteran to go through that ever again.
The veterans, as far as after Vietnam, they tend to make up for it then. But even the Vietnam veterans felt, I guess, slighted a little bit.
He came to Brighton to recognize the sacrifices of Fort Morgan native David Midcap.
It represented that, as far as importance to the community in Fort Morgan.
Duran was able to carry out the tile David Midcap's name is on and put it onto the metal frame.
Well, because they deserve it. Some of them died and some of them are still alive, and they need to be recognized and honored.
The sacrifices of the men and women who served in the Vietnam War should never be forgotten. As the Wall That Heals wrapped up its time in Brighton, these men and women were honored by a candlelight vigil.
The Brighton area is home to more than 200 Vietnam veterans.
My name is George Ryan. I am a Brighton resident, and I am a retired Marine.
Honor guard, attention! Many who have since passed Others we are lucky to still have as part of our community.
Forward! March!
We have a little bit of a different perspective than a lot of people. We lived it. We were in the same tents. We ate the same food. We sloshed through the same mud that the monsoons brought to us in Vietnam. It's those people behind us. There were a total of 3 million plus that served in those 20 some odd years. When they left America, they left with sound mind and body. They were healthy. 58,000 came home with boxes. Came home with boxes. Or they succumbed to their wounds shortly after they got here. Approximately 1,250 at this point. They didn't make it home. They're out there somewhere. They're missing. The rest of us that came back alive, we turned disabled, we came back wounded, we came back sick, we came back diseased from the chemicals that had been sprayed on us by our own country. We came back mentally scarred, filled with anguish, filled with confusion. Time passes, memory fades. I'm approaching 78 years old. I thought I had it under control. I thought I had all my thoughts and feelings and everything compartmentalized. I had it categorized. I dealt with everything. I didn't talk about it. It was just a part of life. Let's move on. But the first time I came to the presence of this wall, excuse me, I'm a little emotional. I have overwhelming feelings that I couldn't describe. It's like a punch in the gut. Totally breathless. I'd hidden so much for so many years. And it all came rushing back, very vivid. I saw faces of names I can't even remember who they were. Friends, comrades in arms. I remember horrible events that I won't describe to you. I had forgotten or tucked away, and all of a sudden it's there. Powerful emotions. I can't describe or put into words for you. I think the most powerful emotion I feel right now is a pain in my chest, because those people did the same thing I did. They served the same place I did. I've lived the last 50 years of my life, and it's been a good life, and they haven't. And how do I deal with that in my own heart? They call this the wall that heals. And now I understand why, because it gives family, friends, and fellow surviving vets like myself the opportunity to grieve, to remember, to cope, and yes, to heal.